Welcome back to the Becoming Reborn podcast. Today we have a very special guest. Now, not long ago, we put out a post on our social media of what guests we should get on for 2026, and this person came in the highest rated out of everyone. And today, that is Kerrie Lawrence. What is happening, Kez?
I'm excited to be here. I'm actually really pumped, a little bit nervous, but excited to be here.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to it.
Story of my life.
All right.
Patrick, now you've wrote the run sheet today.
I have.
And I'm very excited about it.
Because of my excitement. That's why I wrote it.
Yeah, we're opening this up in a completely different way.
Yeah.
I'd like for you to take it away, my friend.
Perfect. Well, we're going to do a couple of little warm-up questions for you, Kaz, before we then dig down deep into your life.
Awesome.
Now, the first question I'm actually going to ask you after I ask the same question to Travis about you. So the question is, Travis, and you have a little think, because it's come back to you, Kez.
I'll have a little think.
How would people who train with Kez describe her in 3 words? You're only allowed to use 3. One at a time.
Caring, straight away. Straight away caring. Is it the same thing if I say thoughtful? I reckon I can get it. Intentive.
Oh, I don't even know if that's a word.
Focused.
Intentive or attentive?
No, like with intent.
With intent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a word?
Not sure, but that's okay.
If you don't think it's a word, it's definitely not a word. You're a nerd. Anyways.
Intentional.
Focused is my last one.
Love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to just throw one in there because I thought you would have come up with it, but I'm going to go with genuine.
Yeah.
Very genuine. All right, Kez, what are your 3 words?
Well, see, it's funny when I was actually talking about this, I find this really difficult to think about, and it's a moment of like, I don't look at myself in any way. I only know one way to coach, and I hope that I come across as genuine. That was
my number 1.
That's what my main. That I'm not trying to be anything else. I'm not trying to follow any other trainer. I'm just trying to be genuine in what I do.
Well, sorry to cut you off there, but I might, because it can be a bit hard to talk about yourself in glowing terms and you feel like a bit of a wanker. Trav has no problem with it. He does it all the time. How I might reframe this question for you, Kez, is how would you like people who you train to think of you in 3 words?
I would like to think that they're going to think of me that I am genuine, professional, and caring.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You know,
I can say that is certainly the case.
Yeah.
It was funny. I actually asked because I did find that a really difficult question to answer. And I actually went to about 10 of the people that I have.
Adorable.
Yeah. And they've given me a list of stuff. And I felt incredibly humbled and embarrassed about all the things that they were saying, which was really nice.
You would have got on red.
I did. It was really, really nice.
All right. There's an uncomfortable one out of the way.
Okay.
Next question I've got for you. What is something that people assume about you that isn't true?
I think as a coach, I think people think that I'm tough, that I can be a bit relentless on the floor. You know, I'm coming back. I'm seeing if you're not working, I've got eyes in the back of my head. I think, and then I feel at times I think that that's my natural character, that I'm a little bit more on the tough side. It's tough love, you know, my way or the highway type at times if I am coaching on the floor. And I think if anything, I am just a big ball of marshmallow. You know, I'm the one that cries at the ads on TV. If I'm watching Deal or No Deal and they're winning $100,000, I'm crying because of it. You know, I love it. And, you know, we've had some beautiful stories in the gym of late. And, you know, one lady, her mum was really sick and almost died. I'm crying on the floor when she's telling me about it. A lady's coming back from where I was training before, and she's coming in with huge panic attacks. And I was just holding her hand because she was crying, and then I'm crying. I'm immersed myself in these people's lives, and genuinely,
You're
I love
incredibly empathetic. If I were to give my second word, empathetic.
Yeah.
Naturally, like it, you don't put it on.
No, I don't think I could. I'm not going to pretend. I can't pretend. You know, I genuinely care, and I'm invested. Probably sometimes a little too much.
I remember when we interviewed you, Kez. I remember thinking, this lady has found our Reborn playbook and read out everything that we believe in and all of our values and everything that we try to instill into our trainers. I'm like, she's found it for sure. And she's just reciting all the words. but you are so genuine in the person you are, and everything you do, you can just tell that it's just honest. And that's been something I've noticed from the moment I've met you, and then it is been continuous, but it's not obviously just to us, because all the members say, like, all the feedback that we get about you is always the exact same. So that's a huge credit to you, Kev.
Well, also to you. And look, thank you, because I want people to know that I am honest, and I go about with the highest integrity everything I do.
Yeah.
That's really important, and I can't thank you enough for saying that.
No problem.
When we were about to interview you, Kez, and we got told from a few pretty credible sources, shout out to Hatchie, that you were the best personal trainer the South Coast has ever seen, potentially even in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, and full transparency, like I remember kind of looking up on your Instagram, and I'm like, oh, not what I expected. And then I originally thought, like, gonna give her a chance here, but I'm expecting to be wowed. It was a bit like, all right, show us. And when we had the first Teams call, it was Trav and I talking to you, and it would not have even been 2 or 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
We've never told you this, by the way.
Yeah.
I wrote down on a piece of paper, she's the one. Exclamation mark, underlined it, and I pointed, it was right there, and I pointed to it to Trav, and Trav looked down and just nodded. You had won me over, and I'm a naturally skeptical person.
Yeah.
You had won me over within 2 minutes, and I was blown away. And then I remember then feeling guilty of not having that thought of, like, not that I initially judged or anything like that, but like not having that thought of, like, okay, I've got to take AJ's word for it, and you won me over so quickly. It was astounding.
Yeah. So when we're having that interview, there's multiple times where, like, Pat would write something, the she's the one, exclamation mark, underline, and then slid across, and I just nodded, yep. And then, like, you'd start saying something,
and then I'm doing this,
and then
I'm hitting him under the table.
I'd slide the notepad over and just write something that was, like, extremely, like, I'm like, she's unbelievable, and then just slide it back, and then none of us were saying.
We were trying to keep the face on. We didn't want to give away too much.
Well, you did. You did very well. I didn't even realize.
No,
I didn't even realize. Didn't even know that you were talking about me behind under the table.
It was like multiple times we were just like, this is not real.
That's
like,
funny.
All right, we're going to pull up the gushing over you. We're going to be here for 3 hours
exactly
because we're your biggest fans.
Huge.
Anyway, take us back to a young Kez. What was your upbringing like? And we know none of this, so this is going to be news to us. Where did you grow up? What was it like?
So basic. I grew up in housing commission in Bomaderry. Started out down there. My dad and my mum died when my sister and I were both, I'm going to say young. I was 30. My sister, she's 8 years younger than me. So she was very early in her 20s. That was Dad. And I think, and we'll talk more about this because there's another question I think that you're going to ask, but he was probably the one that instilled my work ethic. He was the one that said, you get up, you go to work, you get up, you go to school. You're going to say, if you say you're going to do something, you do it. You get there, you do it.
It's my rule in life. Anyway,
it's
love that.
It's like he would say, if you are, all right, so I get that you're sick, you get up, you go to work. If your boss deems you to be sick enough, they'll send you home. And if not, you stay there, you do the work because you said that you were going to be there today. And that was, when I started work, I left school in year 10. Didn't even do I'm going to say this is out there. No one knows this. I didn't even get my school certificate. I hated school so much. I was there for the sport.
Really?
What sport did you play?
So everything's from athletics. So my biggest claim to fame, and I say this regularly, I ran against Kathy Freeman back in the day.
No way.
She'll never remember that because she flogged my ass.
No, I reckon
and she was 15 years older than you, too. She's 15 years older
That's
than you.
exactly
That's why.
right. So I was the underage one when I was there. Melinda Gainsford Taylor, all of that. Like athletics was my thing when I was younger. Shout out to Illawarra Blue Stars.
Nice.
And a great coach that I had down there. I moved from that. I moved into the standard netball, touch football. Had a couple of knee reconstructions. Thought I'd move from netball to touch football because it was going to be better on my knees, and certainly it turned out that it wasn't. Then I got into the gym, played golf. I love golf.
Yeah.
I went from
golf.
I love golf. We went from touch football after those. And then I got into the gym because I wanted to do well in there. And then I became a bodybuilder.
Hey. We're going to get on the bodybuilder in a sec, but I want to go back to childhood.
Yes.
Who was your biggest influence?
My dad, very much so, with everything, work ethic. He was tough. My mum was ruled with an iron fist in terms of she was the authoritarian in the house. If I got into trouble, I got into trouble from her. But Dad had very high standards and didn't say too much, didn't say he loved me too much, didn't come to any of my athletics meets, didn't do those things. But I do remember a story where I got bronze in a state championships and he wasn't there. Was busy working, and I was really disappointed on this particular day. And I took it home. I carpooled, you're being driven by other people. Mum wasn't even there. Took it home, and I said, "Where's that medal, Mum?" And she goes, "Your dad's taking it down the club. He's showing it off to all his men. He's down there. He's doing that. He was proud of me." That was the only time he probably ever said that he was. I didn't say it to me, but it said it to everyone else.
Generation.
Yeah,
very much so.
Right?
Yeah.
Not uncommon back in those times.
No, definitely not. And he died young, so I didn't have the chance to really sit down and talk to him about. I think we'd have better conversations now than what we did back then.
Were you always striving to impress him?
Always. From school, and I wasn't very good at school, so I turned my hand to anything sport-wise. I wanted to be the best at anything I did.
How did you feel when your mum said that your dad took the medal down to the club to show everyone?
Proud. I was proud. I was proud that he was proud of me and relieved that he actually felt proud of me because that's what I wanted. That's all I ever wanted.
Did you ever feel not enough? Like you were constantly trying to impress him and was it never good enough?
I think it was good enough, but he just never told me. Mum would tell me, but he would never tell me.
What did you do for work?
Plumber, and then owned his own plumbing supplies business. He was Ray of Greg and Ray's Plumbing Supplies way back in the day.
Nice. Okay. All right. So then you've had your athletics career and then netball and touch footy. And
netball, touch footy.
And then you got into the gym, which led down the track of being a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
That was probably one of the best times of my life. And I took to it like a duck to water. It was something, I loved it. I loved the feeling of being strong. I love the programming. That's why I love DWAG so much. I love the programming. I love the way in which things are done. I love the splits that we do to make the big changes. I loved it from stepping on stage to walking in high heels to doing all the things, the tanning, the hair, the makeup, the lot.
We've got to dig down into some photos. Like, you've got to show us some photos of you at your peak.
And then you're going to send them to Nunu. Pop these up.
Yeah,
it'd be so
done.
good.
Pop them up on the YouTube.
It'd be so good. If you don't mind me asking, what year is this when you're doing this?
I split up with my husband at the time and I went straight into the gym. He got the golf course and the friends at the golf course.
Yeah.
And I then had to decide what I was going to do. So I was a masters competitor. So I was in my 40s. And when I won an Australian championship, I was 46.
Wow.
And you won an Australian championship.
So what year is that though?
Well, I'm 58, so 12 years ago.
Okay.
Is that right? 12 years ago? 58?
Yeah.
2014.
Just trying to think of like who the big dogs were in bodybuilding then and like what inspiration you drew out of them.
So in the females, although she's passed away now, Andy Page was one of them. Asha Pryor, which was my coach, and she's been a huge influence on me. In terms of the men, Scott Goebel, those big boys were rocking the stage. There were big
Ronnie
boys
Coleman
going.
in that during that?
Ronnie was on his way out in around that time.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about, Phil Heath, all those, guys are killing it on stage. Dana Lynn Bailey, she was rocking the world. She was Olympia when I was going through. So big. So I even had the chance to, I've trained at Gold's Gym in, all over. So from the one that was in LA to Vegas to, Spain. It's been awesome.
Wow. So you traveled all around the world doing it?
So Arnold Europe Classic, when I won the Australasian Championship, I went down to the Arnold's in Melbourne. But when I won the Australasian Championship, that gave me the gateway to compete for Australia in Spain.
Wow.
That's so cool.
How did you go with the discipline of things? You mentioned that your dad instilled work ethic in you, and bodybuilding is a discipline.
Yeah. I made some goals, and you can't shortcut anything. So like I said, my dad said to me, if you make the commitment to your coach, you have to follow through with it. And it was probably for 4 years I didn't drink. If my coach said, have a cheat meal, I had the cheat meal, but tried to clean it up. Can I just have some sweet potato? I'll go ham on the carbs, but make it clean for me. So there was no pizza, no burgers. I often tell this story about, I would take my daughter who was in, I'm going to say kindergarten, a little bit, maybe, kindergarten, a little bit older, and I would take her in the afternoon for afternoon tea, and I'd make her get a chocolate muffin. I'd have it heated up, and I just...
Oh, God. You just smell it.
Just smell it.
And that was enough?
I would just smell it. Hot chips on a Friday night.
Oh,
shout out to
that's my go-to.
Mama's in Barrack Heights. They're with all the little crispy chippies. I just smell the chips.
Oh, wow.
I know. I was disciplined. I was disciplined.
That is discipline.
Very much so.
Tell me, was the timing right in that you splitting up from your marriage and then needing something to direct your energy and throwing everything into it as maybe a bit of a coping mechanism?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. So at that stage, he and I were playing golf together. He took up golf earlier than me. And for me to spend some time with him, I'd go and play golf. And when we split up, it was a tough thing. We had lots of friends at the golf club and I had to turn myself to something different. And that's where I thought, I got into the gym, and I was getting back into the gym a lot more because obviously when you're playing golf, you've got a different physique, you've got different goals.
Yeah.
I'm on the golf course a lot,
too.
Hugely time consuming. And so therefore, when I got into the gym, I was in it for an hour and I'd be home with the kids because I had to be, single mum.
It's kind of like a unforeseen impact on people when they separate from a lifelong partner is the social side of it.
Yeah.
Because all of your friends, especially if you've been together for a long time and married, you've got the same friends.
Yeah, definitely.
And you having to separate, like you're already feeling the isolation from losing your partner and then having to find another social group. That'd have been tough.
Yeah, it was. But then, again, what gyms are like. You very quickly find a community and you find common ground somewhere else. So I went from the golf club to finding something so much better. I wasn't drinking because, of course, the 19th hole is always synonymous with a good golf game. And so there, it was definitely a positive impact on my children, the way I was interacting with them, and then how I approached the food that went in my body. And then the discipline just kept coming back.
How good. So is this where you start to step into be a personal trainer? Because I do slightly remember your story, but I know there's about 17 jobs along the way.
Yeah. So I became a PT when I was 18. So that's 40 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What, straight out of school?
Straight out of school. It was one of the very first things, perpetual learner. So I wanted to do something that challenged me. Because again, I didn't finish high school, so I had to turn myself to something different. And I've always had a keen, healthy obsession with anatomy and physiology and the way in which the body worked. So I thought that was the natural step.
Tell me, back then, 40 years ago, what did the certification to become a personal trainer look like? We've actually got a business. Quick shout out to Reborn Coaching, where we teach Cert 3 and 4 to students who want to become personal trainers.
Yeah.
What did it look like then?
Very basic. We tick the boxes. You'd have to go through a movement. You'd study the body anatomy and physiology, but then, there was no real great trainers. Oh, shout out to them, and no disrespect to them, but all of my experience and the knowledge I have now is through trial and error and making mistakes, working with different people that are far better than me. Because it was very basic back then. There was no communication skills. There was nothing that we've talked about, even when we were talking with DWAGs, when we came up for onboarding, there was none of that. go through the basic movement, and that's it.
It just been PTs, right? There's
exactly.
There's no group. This would have been like what was Arnold just coming through?
Yeah.
Like, and then people were just kind of
had no idea.
had no idea what was going on.
The first iteration of your personal trainer career, how long did that last?
Good word, Pat.
Ooh, I like that. Look, I was doing some personal training with some friends of mine. You know, it always stands out with your friends and things like that. And then I moved into, it's interesting, my family bought a business. So they bought a supermarket in Shell Harbour. And so I went and worked for them for a period of time. So that's where I was getting my money from. Then I had my firstborn. So I was 27 when she was born and stepped out of the personal training business for a little bit, but then quickly got back into it. In the year 2000, I was down in Melbourne Cup with a group of friends, and I was introduced to a lady that owned a chiropractic centre in Wollongong. So she said, I think you'd be the perfect fit. I'll get the chiropractor to call you on Monday. And I'm like, yeah, as if that's going to happen. I'm standing in a crowd of probably 300,000 people, and I've met you from Wollongong, and you want me in your, not only as a massage therapist, but as somebody that has talks about fitness and getting rehabbed and, you know, all of that type of thing. And fair enough, he rang.
I got a funny feeling I know what he saw or what was seen in you.
Oh.
You might not admit it, but you say that like, oh yeah, sure, like you're going to call me back. When people speak to you, I don't want to embarrass you too much, but I can't help but be drawn to you and just think of what the type of a person you are. No matter what business I'd be running, I would want you involved.
Yeah. Second that.
Not sure what to say.
It's hard to say that.
Thanks.
So then you started working as a massage therapist.
I did within this chiropractic centre. And again, some of the best work experience that I've ever had. So the chiropractor was very great at building his business and bringing everybody that was in his business up along with him. And I just happened to be fortunate enough that I was one that he gave a lot of his wisdom to.
What did you learn from him?
Communication and the importance of communication. Somebody comes in their most vulnerable time, if they're coming to me as a massage therapist, a lot of them, they've been referred to me by a chiropractor. They're not coming to the chiropractor. That in many years ago, it was literally because they were in a great deal of pain. And so to sit and listen to them and really hear what they were saying was a really big thing.
Teaching how to listen.
How to listen.
That's important.
Very important.
Something I have not been good at for a lot of my life. Travis laughs. But active listening.
Yeah. It is. And he also taught me conflict resolution skills. You know, not everybody comes to a chiropractor and wants what he had to offer. So really being able to listen and understand what they were saying, but also to reframing some of the things that they probably had underlying. And we were talking about that. It was really good life lessons from him, and I take them.
So you're massaging someone for an hour and it's constant back and forth conversation.
Yeah, I was a deep tissue massage therapist, so a lot of it's not relaxing.
No,
so
that's not fun at all.
And then, of course, when they're face down, people tend to open up a lot more. So then you become a little bit more of a therapist in other ways, not just a massage therapist, but you're helping them solve some problems of the world. Coach. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So you think that had a big impact on how you are as a trainer these days?
Yeah. Again, it's listening.
And learn to have those conversations too with all walks of life.
Yeah.
It's so important because then once you learn how to speak to people, that's when they're actually taking the knowledge that you've got as well. People don't care. And like what, until you show care about them.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree with that more.
So how do you think younger trainers in the industry at the moment, current personal trainers, could benefit from your experiences without having to have done it for 10 years?
It's a really good question. I think opening up to the fact that you need to not be good at everything. You need to be able to just listen to what they've got to say. I really do think that, and I think where personal trainers sometimes, young personal trainers, they just don't have the life experience behind them. Time will come. They'll get their own time, and they see things through very different eyes these days.
Yeah.
And I just feel if they allowed the process and they allowed the stories to come and they allowed their mistakes to happen naturally and be okay with that, I think things would move along a lot quicker for them.
Yeah. Patty, tell me if you agree with this. Like, Kez, I'm sure you've got a world of knowledge when it comes to the human body and where, how to lunge and how to squat and everything like that. But I don't think any of the members are going, Kez, I love her because she's so good at teaching me how to do my squat. Like, I think what trainers get wrong these days, and look, it is an important fact. I'm not saying you don't have to know your shit when it comes to, you don't have to know all the information. But what their problem is they put that as a priority before the people skills. I believe that all that knowledge that they have it doesn't mean anything because the thing that comes first is the people skills. And if you got the people skills like yourself, like you show that genuine care, people will then care about what you say. But they put too much emphasis on, well, I know this and I know that, but and this is what my value is. It's like, no, your value is what the members think of you.
Yeah.
And it's a bitter pill for them to swallow a lot of the times.
Yeah, we hire based off the person and the personality
Character.
over any technical qualifications or anything like that. When we were on that Teams meeting with you and we felt your personality, I had no idea. You may have not even been qualified. Almost doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Because you can teach that. You can teach the technical skills, you can teach the qualifications, but you can't teach the empathy and the personality behind it.
I definitely agree
Character
with that.
over qualifications.
Yeah.
Nice, Travi. Yeah. And we've like learnt lessons on that in the past of some of the trainers that we've hired have been the most qualified that we've ever had, and they turn out not to be anywhere near the best trainers.
Yeah, especially in group training as well.
Yeah.
Group training is a different beast. PTs, it's a little bit different, but I think in group scenarios in particular, like it's really personality first.
I think it's also you've got to be able to, you might have 40 people in the room. It's personal training to many. They have to feel like they're the only one in the room. And you've got to be able to look across the room and have everybody feel heard or seen by me or seen by us. You can't just focus in on one person in a group training setting.
This is a hard question to give a short answer to. How the hell do you do that? Because you do it better than anyone I've seen.
I really do. I think I've got really good peripheral vision. I feel like if I'm, let's just say, Noo's in front of me and I'm standing there, I'm asking him to do something, I can see if someone's stopping beside me or behind me. I feel it. And people often say, how do you know that I've put down the weights? How do you know that I've stopped? Because it's an energy thing. I can feel it.
And you're locked in though.
Oh,
you're very present.
Intense.
Wherever you are, you're in that moment. It's a trait actually I'm jealous of because where you are is what you're doing. Like your head's not anywhere else except for what you're doing.
Nah, I'm looking around the room. It's the 9:30 that I've just come from, and I said it today. They were I guarantee you they're the session of the day. They were incredible.
Nice.
They were just as hard at it as what I was hard at it. And I often say, you go 100, I'll go 110.
Nice.
We just lift together and we feed off each other's energy.
It's very Dykesy-like, isn't it, Trav?
Yeah.
A trainer that we used to have at Reborn, Adam Dykes, was actually my first boss as a PT. He had that intensity about him where, like you mentioned, Trav, there could be like a building burning down 10 meters to the left.
Yeah.
He would not know because he is just locked in with everyone that's right in front of him.
Same.
And you've got something like that.
People will say, I tried to wave at you. You're on the main arena and I was going through the strength room. I'm so sorry.
chance.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Saw nothing. I saw the 30 odd people that were in front of me. That's all I saw.
Locked in.
Yeah.
All right. Now, you're almost famous, Kez, for the amount of care that you give to people before sessions, during sessions, after sessions, follow-up texts, phone calls, conversations after the session that might go for an hour if someone needs it. When you care that deeply and give so much of yourself to the people that you're training, how on earth do you not burn out?
Look, and I still think it's probably a work in progress. I don't say that I've got a master on that. Like I don't have a real answer for that. I think the thing that keeps me coming back and keeps me focused and keeps me passionate about it is that I actually genuinely care. And I do take an interest in everybody that I train. I remember, I remember people from the F45 days, and I remember the stories that they've told me and how they have been vulnerable and they've told me things, and I appreciate that. There's a level of so much respect to them that they've trusted me to take that on board with them. So sometimes I do take a little too much on board, and it's hard not to get burnt out. But that there's another person that needs me the next day.
So is a big part of it the fact that you're helping people and giving to people?
100%.
Like that's what keeps you coming back?
Everything. It's everything.
You mentioned passion and then the purpose. A lot of people, they have burnout when they lack those two things. When you got passion and purpose constantly driving you, and the fact that you're so selfless and you're constantly thinking about, how's the next person going to feel? I think that's what's bridged the gap of like you not getting burnout as frequently as, because I can imagine if one of our trainers did what you did for 1 week in terms of all those messages, it'd be too overwhelming for them. But the fact that you're so passionate about it and it gives you so much purpose, I think that's why it prevents you from getting burned out.
I never want anybody in my main, let's just say it's main arena, because where I'm doing one-to-many, I never want anybody in that main arena to think that I haven't seen them. And if for some reason, and I'll walk away and I assess my performance, and if I go, I didn't get to pat as much as I wanted to today, you might have been squatting really well, but I didn't get to you.
Obviously.
Yeah, totally. That's why I said it.
Haven't seen me squat over.
But what I am going to do is I'm going to go, epic squat today, Paddy. That was awesome. I saw you. Might not have got to you, but I saw you. I saw what you did.
You definitely didn't see Paddy's squat.
Marginally better than yours.
Oh, yes, he's better than mine, actually. I'm throwing stones right now.
Just saying.
Now tell me, have you ever given too much of yourself, like on a certain occasion or at a certain time in your life?
Yeah. I think I think at times, sometimes it doesn't end well because you do give. And my level of expectation at that particular time was probably more than what they were willing to give. And I think at times there's going to be an element of disappointment. I shouldn't have given that person that thing that I gave. But I bounce back and I go, that's a lesson learned. It's a mistake I made. And there's somebody that needs me tomorrow. So I try not to give that too much thought.
Do you find it hard to switch off from your members' lives?
Yeah, absolutely. I am one of those people that if somebody messages me at 8:30 at night, I can't, we've talked about this before, I can't not message them. If I've seen it, the pull for me to go, I have to message them because they're waiting for that message to come
You are
out.
such a better person than I am.
My phone's on Do Not Disturb.
My phone is on Do Not Disturb from 6 p.m.
The thought of putting it on Do Not Disturb creates that much anxiety. It was definitely one of my, in our OKRs. I wanted to put that down, but I couldn't do it.
Wow.
Couldn't do it.
Far better person than you and I, Patrick.
Yes.
In many ways, but that one in particular.
I think it helps also too that, the main person in my life is equally into what they do. And so part of our communication is, how was your day? How was my day? That person's writing away, she's doing all the things, and I'm going, oh my God, I've got to do this. I've got to message this. And go, yeah, no worries. It's a level of understanding as well. Yeah. So I think that makes a huge difference.
You two are very compatible in that sense.
We are. Yeah, very driven, incredibly driven.
So let's get back to your storyline. So you go on masseuse, bodybuilding.
Yeah.
What's next?
Bodybuilding, I got home from Spain and I put myself into, and I hope people don't mind this, but I put myself into early menopause. I got down to 5% body fat. I went into a slipstream over there, which means that when you start to step on stage, the food that I was putting in was literally, I was getting leaner and leaner and leaner by the second. It was crazy. It's crazy what the human body can do.
So you just went to the next level.
But I had no control over it. So once you start to feel, so you go through that peak week process, and when you're starting to feel it, have all the lines come out and where it should be popping, my body was just absorbing every bit of food that I put in, and probably having the right food where I needed it quickly, being in a foreign country, and the language barrier where I was staying was a little bit more difficult. So I got very lean very quickly, probably too lean.
At this time, were you a natural bodybuilder? Are you on performance-enhancing drugs?
So I've done both, and I'll be completely honest about it. I've done both. I started out in a natural bodybuilding federation, and I moved into IFBB.
Was it an addictive thing of like, look at how far I've taken my body so far, I'm looking for that next edge because I'm competitive and I want to see how lean I can get, or what?
No, I think I'm Arnold Europe Classic. I needed volume. I needed size. So
I can't wait to see these photos.
I went with the thought process. I was looking really good. I was looking gun, and got there, and literally my size was being drawn out of me I didn't take my coach with me. So I was trying to, the time difference, I'm messaging, she's sleeping, she's up in the middle of the night trying to communicate with me. So I probably, not her fault, I probably got the timing just a little bit wrong. I probably left my feel a little bit late, and it literally absorbed everything. So I got on the stage probably about 3 kilos lighter than what I should have been. So within that week, it just sucked everything out of me. Right. And hormonally, it ripped me apart. Oh, wow. So I got home a very unwell person.
So you said you brought on early menopause,
yeah.
Which means you stopped menstruating.
Yes.
How does that impact the female body at that time?
Well, so at that time, the lack of, I couldn't concentrate. I was irritable. Feeling I was sore all the time. I couldn't go to the gym. The best I could do was walk, just to try to settle the hormones down at that stage, because I also too was in the depths of it, so I had no idea how to get myself out of it. And it wasn't until, I lost my period before going. A lot of bodybuilders do. I didn't realize I put myself into menopause until it just never came back.
Wow. What's the impact on your mental health then?
Well, it was big, just because I couldn't concentrate on anything. Work seemed harder. Relationships broke down. I came back a broken woman from that particular, and it was not through anyone else's fault, but through mine. It was just I didn't handle that very well. I didn't look after my body properly. And I traveled for 4 weeks after that as well. And 4 weeks around Europe, I just didn't care at that stage. I was just going ham on all the wines and all the pastas and anything I could get my handle on because I'd been so depleted for so long. And innately, I think I probably knew that was probably going to be my last time. That was my last competition.
Because of the impact it had on you.
Yeah.
I've heard that from so many different bodybuilders, like the amount of the heavy impact it does every single one of those competitions that you do. It just drains the life out of you literally every single time.
I wasn't sleeping. And, and I had a feeling I was thinking perimenopausal, just the hot sweats, all of those things. But having said that, coming off the back of a bodybuilding season, you may very well feel that anyway. And I've had that happening before. So again, I didn't really realize the impact. Hindsight's a really powerful thing. So I learned lots of lessons in that time, huge amounts of lessons.
It's kind of like the hidden side of bodybuilding, right?
And one that probably doesn't get talked about quite as much as what it probably should do.
Because a lot of the people that look really good and win competitions as a bodybuilder, the photo of their body is what gets plastered into people's minds.
100%.
But people don't see the other side of things.
And it's also too, and again, I would argue that many bodybuilders have some form of body dysmorphia. We're chasing that look all of the time.
You're never good enough.
And it's never good enough. And you're being judged. So in order for you to be better at the sport, you're relying on other people to judge you and your physique. down to the last little bit. You know, you're not big enough in the glutes. You know, biceps aren't, you know, your quads aren't, you don't have enough lines in your quads. There's no quad flare. There's no lat. You can't, you know, there's all the different things. Your rear delts need to come up. There's always something.
It's the only sport, and without fear of offending people, I use the term sport in inverted commas, and I'll explain why in a second. Because it's the only sport where on competition day, you're at your weakest. Physically, like people say that when they compete and they get up on stage, their body looks immaculate and they would not even be able to do a push-up. They are so weak and so dehydrated and all of that.
It was not unusual for the person I was working for at the time, and I was working in a chiropractic center, that she would say to me, you don't work the last 10 days, because I didn't have the ability to be able to concentrate on anything. You know, wasn't a great massage therapist. You know, she would drive me different places because I, you know, at one stage I actually ran up behind somebody's car because I forgot to brake. That's how, that level of depletion I was in.
Oh God.
Okay. Don't go do bodybuilding to that extent.
No,
I don't want to play anymore.
No, don't want to play.
So while you were doing bodybuilding and then post, were you working as a personal trainer then?
Yes. So in and out, personal trainer and massage therapist. Yeah.
Okay. Then when did the massage therapist stop and then you went all in on PT?
Yeah. So that was probably 10 years ago. It'd be coming up 11 years ago. I had an interview at the local F45 Shellharbour and got that job, and I went all in. I loved it. It was definitely that hype, probably that I was missing, that sense of community that I was missing. Completely different.
It could be more
completely
like
different.
Bodybuilding to like an F45.
And it went against everything. The only thing that I could liken it to, so when traditionally bodybuilders are going to do steady state cardio, depending upon what type of bodybuilder you are. And so for me to get lean, I'd always been used to steady state cardio, many competitions prior. You know, I might walk up and down stairs for half an hour, 10,000 steps. I believe I had a secret weapon on this particular. I went into functional training. I did 2 functional training sessions a week with this guy. And
unheard of for bodybuilders.
Unheard of. And I didn't tell anyone. Apart from my coach, he knew, but no one else knew that I was doing it. And my competitors didn't know. And I came in lean.
Yeah. Was that when you won?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bombshell.
Bombshell, mic drop. It was huge. And I really felt that was the only thing that I had done differently.
Wow.
And I was lean and I was strong. Started out as 6 weeks out, it was 1 functional training session per week. I nearly died. I thought, what I'm not fit.
Yeah.
I remember passing out. He was trying to get me to do a sled push. I literally was crawling along the floor saying, I cannot do another one.
The oxygen just
It was battle ropes. Had me doing battle ropes. My delts were pumped. Everything was pumped, but I could barely lift the ropes. 100 of them in a row. I can't. I'd stop at 50, and I've never said I can't in any gym session ever.
Wow.
So that's when you're training for look, not for
100%. Oh,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So I see. It's funny how it was only 10 years ago that you then took the step into group training, because anyone that knows you would know that you are built for group training. And then when you got started in it, how did that all go? I can just imagine that you would have blown people's socks off.
Yeah, I don't even know. It was just this internal thing that came out of me, because personal training, I was always, I'm encouraging as one-on-one, and I love it, and I'm high-fiving and I'm chest bumping and it's all the things. But to do it to many and get involved. And in those days, the little studio that we had, our biggest session, which was a Hollywood session on a weekend, only had the capacity for 27 people. And 27 is like
nothing.
Boom. Easy. I loved it. I got around to everybody, got amongst them, built this community. It was awesome.
Great.
Wow, yeah, F45 days.
Yeah.
It was pumping back then too.
Yeah, it was.
So fast forward a few years then until you meet us, and we want to hire you as our first and main trainer at Reborn Shellharbour. So you were at a previous gym at the time and ended up coming over to Reborn. How did that all come about?
Yeah. Look, it come about?
Why did we have the first conversation?
Because I was contacted, and I'll say openly that if I was truly happy, I would never have engaged in that conversation.
I remember the first conversation where from Hatchie, and it was like, you said, I'm loyal to where I am. I appreciate, and I'll show you guys respect, and I'll have the conversation, but I just want to be completely transparent. I'm happy where I am.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that's a really professional way of handling that.
It's still, I honestly would still be there. I would still be there had it not have gone down the way it did go down, because I am loyal. If they wanted me, I would have been there.
We value loyalty over almost anything else.
Yep.
I was on the phone to someone who came to Open Week at Reborn Carrying Bar yesterday afternoon, and he absolutely loved it. And the gym that he's going to, he said to me straight up, I don't suit it. I'm 20 years older than every single person in this gym. And I said to him, are you thinking about potentially coming to Reborn, or are you happy where you are? And he goes, look, the gym doesn't suit me. And he said, but I'm a loyal guy. And the trainer that owns that gym, he helped me drop 15 kilos when I was at my worst, and I'm loyal to him forever.
Yeah.
And I said to him over the phone, I respect that. I love that. Don't you dare ever leave that trainer.
Yeah.
I said, if something comes up, you've got our number.
Yeah.
He really enjoyed it here, but I love loyalty and I respect that.
Yeah.
Please don't go anywhere.
And I'm a Leo. Loyalty is everything. I'm fiercely protective, and I'm incredibly loyal. And I think it's really been a good thing. It's a good quality that I've had over the years, and I will continue. It was my dad had always instilled that in me as well. Be loyal. Remember the people that got you started and put you in the position that you're in today.
Yeah.
So I know since you've left your former place of employment and come to Reborn, there's been some legal stuff going on in the background. So only mention what you're comfortable mentioning here. But how did you leave that former job? Was that by choice? Were you asked to leave?
No, I was, and I remember it, and I'll remember it for the rest of my life. I had worked an incredible morning at the gym, and I got a phone call at around 2:30. By 2:32, an email had gone out about me. My children got the email before I even had a chance to tell them.
It was a phone call?
A phone call.
It wasn't a meeting. I thought it was a meeting.
No, a phone call.
The disrespect.
What happened in the phone call?
I was told that I was asked whether I was meeting with anyone, and I said yes. With that information, I formally terminate your contract. Your employment. I terminate your employment. You are no longer, want the keys back, and we potentially going to take legal action against you.
And what did the email say that went out to all the members?
That the crux of it was that they're moving forward with the right people doing the right thing, with integrity, and that I would no longer be there. Right thing, right people, that I had done something wrong.
How long had you been there?
9 years.
And a phone call that went for 2 minutes and an email.
Not even by them. The accountant rang me.
Oh, the accountant rang you.
You didn't even know my accountant. Imagine how weird that'd be if you got a phone call from my accountant. I'm just trying to think. So Pat's been working with us for what?
Not even
9.5 years, 10.
No,
9.
Like a year or two less than Kez. Yeah. And the wording of the email, you took offense to.
Oh my gosh. I think the inference that I stole was what everybody that received the email. I even know the first person and how quickly that the text message came through from one of the members going, tell me it's not true. What have you done? On that night, I had over 250 messages come through. Some of them were of support. Some of them were, you must have done something really wrong. What have you done? And for me, I think if they knew me, they would know that I would never have done anything that lacked integrity. And that was the thing that hit me the hardest, was that.
So would you like now to tell your side of what happened? if you're not comfortable, I completely understand. But
yeah, look, I think, yes, I'm not sure how much I can
of course,
say because there are some other things that are going on. But what I will say is I was unfairly dismissed and I won that unfair dismissal.
So at the time when you mentioned that you were speaking to another gym, which was Reborn at the time, what was the extent of that?
So I'd had a conversation with AJ. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I had a conversation with AJ, and I had a meeting with you guys via Zoom Teams meeting. That's it. That's all we'd had.
Yeah. And on that Teams meeting, what was the extent of potential changing of employment? Like, where did that end?
I think pretty much the Teams meeting was us getting to know one another to see if we were a good fit. There was no conversations about employment. There was no conversations about money. It was just seeing if you liked me and if I liked you guys.
And then when the email went out, what were you accused of doing?
That I was accused of breaching my shareholders agreement, basically saying that I was an owner and that I was starting up a new gym, actively starting up a new gym and stealing their members.
At this time, were you a shareholder or an owner?
God, no, never. I would have liked to have been, but never was.
Okay.
It just sounds silly.
How?
I didn't even have an employment contract.
Because I know the scenario, I know the timeline of this whole thing. Like nothing was even, no one did anything. And then it was just like.
It was interesting because if you look at when we were right up until the very last minute, I hadn't even said yes to coming over to you guys.
We hadn't even met
I hadn't
in person.
even, no.
I said this actually to someone yesterday. I can't remember who it was. They asked me, when Kez said she was going to come over, was that massive? I go, bro, we didn't know she was going to come over officially until the last week. I actually thought about a week out, I'm like, shit, we're going to have to find someone else here.
Yeah.
Because of the court
you guys were
proceedings.
asking, that's right. I'm going, I don't know. Couldn't commit.
And that's where, I think that the confusing part about this is just there was so many decisions made when on their end when we
hadn't even made a decision.
We haven't even met.
No.
In person. And it was nothing was said about anything. It was just us meeting and that was it. And you were literally the first person we spoke to. The factory was still dirt, right? Was it even dirt?
Well, no, it was literally a empty shed. It was an empty shed. And like I said to them, I did meet with AJ and I had a walk around. But it was all just this one big shed. That was it. And all I knew was the concrete had come up.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yes, that's how early it was.
So, Kez, what kind of impact did this have on you at the time when your credibility was questioned?
Yeah.
Or slandered?
Yeah, it was horrific. I remember ringing AJ distraught. And I remember speaking with you guys and being distraught. And, there were days, and I never really suffered from what I would consider anxiety or any form of depression, but
take your time, Dale.
I felt that my identity had been stolen from me. It wasn't my choice. And I think the hardest part about all of this is that I've lost friendships along the way. I've lost people that I held dear and close to me, and my silence had been misconstrued as guilt. And I was just trying to survive. I was just trying to keep my integrity and not lower myself to keep perpetuating rumors and lies that were being circulated around. I just wanted to be silent, not because it was tough. It was tough for me to think that other people thought that I stole something. That was the biggest thing for me. So the impact's been huge, I'm very grateful and I will be forever grateful to you guys for showing me that people do still believe in me, and I'm incredibly grateful that I have a job. So it's tough, and it's been incredibly tough on Sid. It's incredibly tough on my kids. And there were days, and if I wasn't getting back to people, it wasn't because I didn't want to. It was because I didn't have the words. I didn't even know how to try to explain myself without saying the wrong thing against them, because it's never my intention. I don't want to badmouth them. They gave me work, and they gave me the people that I have come across for those last 9 years. I hold no ill will against them. I'm just grateful that I'm now being able to do what I can do.
I think it says a lot about you as a person, Kez, for the impact that this had on you and your life and your partner's life and your kids' lives, that you still hold no ill will about anyone involved.
No. Sadness. And I'm disappointed it didn't have to go down that way.
Yeah, it didn't.
There was no need for it to be that way. And I think that's been the hardest thing that I've had to try to come to terms with, to try to make sense of. And I still don't think I can make sense of it. I can't make sense of it. But I'm very grateful that, and I'm proud of myself for making the decision to come across, because I know how that must have looked for many people, and some of my closest friends probably still think that I left and the rumours that were circulating around me were true, where I hadn't made no decision. So
you're giving me anxiety. The last 2 weeks, I was like, shit, what do we do? Like, if people think that you're in, we didn't know. I didn't know.
So did you have hesitation to come over because it would have looked like all the things they accused you of?
Yeah.
That must have been hard.
Yeah, it was. It was really hard. It was hard because there was a lot of people I hadn't spoken to. And there was a lot of people that I had seen on the open day of Reborn that were so blown away that I was there, because I didn't know that I was going to be there until the very last minute. And they have since said to me that, we reached out and you didn't respond, or, we didn't know how that was all going down. I said, because I wanted to keep my integrity. I wanted to keep those things close to me. If you were staying in that previous gym, that's fantastic. I love that you were staying there. It's a gym. We all have different needs, and we resonate with different people. If you want to stay there, that's great. I love that.
And you made a call and kind of drew a line in the sand. I remember when we had the conversation on you leaving your former gym and coming to Reborn, and you were never going to go out of your way to contact any of your former members, because that is not the type of person you are. And if they heard that you'd moved on and wanted to then come across to Reborn, great.
Yeah.
But you were never going to initiate contact, and that obviously would have meant there's a lot of people that didn't hear from you and might have felt left out by that. But the reason was out of respect to your former employer.
100%.
And do you remember when Patchy said that to us?
Yep.
And me and Pat, after we had the conversation, we're like, we respect that so much.
Like,
that's a good
from a business perspective for Reborn, it would have been a lot better if you had have done that, but we much preferred the way it happened, because you keep your integrity.
100%.
And we can sleep better at night knowing that you're not doing anything that you're not comfortable with. And through the whole period, we can all go home and close our eyes at night knowing we've done the right thing.
Definitely. And that was really important. That was I never reached out to anybody, and because I didn't know where I was going myself. They knew that I may have had talks with you, but I had never said that that's what I was doing. And I think it shows in a lot of people that walking through the front door and not knowing that I was going to be there.
I remember that time, Kez, and I remember you had those conversations that I was having with you, and I was purely just calling to check in with you a lot of the times. And Pat and I can speak for both of us here. We just felt so bad because you'd been like, you had your integrity, just challenge, which we knew after meeting you that one time, we knew the type of person you were. But it was heartbreaking for us because it was like you've done nothing wrong and all these things are happening to you. And we felt
guilty.
Guilty.
We felt incredibly guilty of like, what have we caused?
Yeah.
And we've taken the most beautiful person on the earth, and through no fault of ours, but we were involved in then causing you probably one of the toughest periods of your life. We felt horrible.
I thought about this a lot, and I thought about it a lot last night. And since I knew that you had asked me to come on the podcast, and I had a feeling that this had come up, I think and you look back on these things and everything happens for a reason. And it's, with hindsight, it's the best thing that could have happened. I truly believe it.
Why do you say that?
I just feel, and it's, I think people drift apart, relationships drift apart. I was probably hanging on to something that wasn't what I thought. And I think we learn lessons in it's trust your gut earlier. And you can't stay in a relationship where it's not really working, and you don't see it until you're out of it. And I think sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees. And for me, it's probably, and I'm sure they're saying the same thing, it's probably the best thing that could have happened. Did it have to happen the way it happened? No, but it is definitely the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah.
Oh, mine's short. I always believe with every breakdown, there's always a breakthrough if you're willing to work through it and see the silver linings and see what the positive that out of that outcome. But with every breakdown, there comes a breakthrough if you're willing to look for it. And this is it. And we've been through it, and it was hard.
Yeah.
But we're here now.
So on that very first day, and I'll never forget the opening day, and somebody came up to me and said, "You look great." And I was like, God, I must have looked really shit the last time you seen me. I really, because I was full of anxiety on that first day. And I think the adrenaline is what carried me through on that first day. But recently, somebody had said to me, you look, particularly with Open Week, and, our main arena was pumping on the weekend. We had 3 full packed out sessions. There was 70 people in each session. It was nuts. So cool. And somebody had said to me, you look like you're having the time of your life. And I said, yes, dare I say, and I know that this is corny, but dare I say it, I feel reborn. It was one of those things that's like, came out of me naturally, and we're laughing about it. And, that was a bit, cheesy. Cheesy. But we were both running with it. It was, and it's how I feel. It's that's so genuinely how I feel. I really do.
That makes me so happy. It really does.
Makes me happy too. And I can't say it enough. I'm incredibly grateful that you guys took a chance.
I love how she's like, we took a chance. Like, we were
locked in. Yeah. We were not taking a chance. It's like signing Nathan Cleary. Yeah. Like, not a chance. You got enough runs on the ball. We know what you can do. You like that,
yeah, we took a chance.
Took a chance. We didn't know if he could play or not. Come on, kids.
Well, let's take it back to the first initial conversation we had there, just Pat. You did say that you were like, meh.
But after 3 minutes,
not even.
We knew, and this is super tough to do when you did care. It's like, it's very hard to get to know someone within 3 minutes in general. On a computer screen, you can't pick up on those things. No. We could pick it up from a computer screen within 3 minutes. The fact we were writing little notes to each other like little schoolgirls about how amazing you were, and then trying to pretend we were heaps cool on the side.
Trav's leg had a bruise on it because I kept hitting him, and it pissed him off.
And I'm like, stop, Pat. Stop it. I get it. She's amazing.
I wasn't invited back on the next interview, Kez, because I was just annoying.
Yeah.
I don't think there was.
There wasn't.
We didn't get to.
That was when we're done. We didn't speak after that.
Okay, there wasn't one. That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have been invited back.
Yeah, you probably would have been invited.
So, tell me, when you were in limbo for a few months, having been let go from your previous job and Reborn hadn't opened, obviously going through a really tough time personally, but on top of that, pulling your social fabric of your life, which was the gym and all of the members, to just add to what was the mentally most challenging part of your life. How was that? Not being able to see the people that you love and you talk to every day.
Really, really hard. Awful. Like that with and look, it's hard to even put into words. I remember there were days, where I didn't want to talk to anybody, didn't want to get out of bed, I would. And I'm lucky that I was able to sit around a little bit. She took me on all the jobs and kept me going, because if it wasn't for her, I would have stayed inside. I felt the world was looking at me. And and you got to remember where I was. They are international, they're a worldwide network now. So I felt that every eye was upon me across the world, and not for the good reasons. I didn't have access to these people. I didn't have the ability to tell them, don't believe it, and I didn't have a chance to say what my side of the story, which was really difficult. When something so big in your life is taken, you catastrophize everything, from every conversation, every interaction. And, I think because that was my identity with everything, I put everything into it. And, then we were doing different things in terms of putting Shell Harbour, that particular gym, on the map. It was a lot to be taken away. It was everything that I had worked hard for I felt that I had worked hard for, and I built what I thought was great relationships had then gone.
Kez, if you had your time over again, would you have done anything differently?
Not in the way in which I went about my daily business. Again, I always felt that I put the members first. I really do feel that I think the biggest lesson learned would be to trust my gut earlier, and probably to realize that things were breaking down earlier. And it didn't have to end the way it did. It could have ended on amicable terms. And I feel that, I take part responsibility in that as well.
I remember after the first meeting we had on Teams, when we'd hung up, and I remember saying to Trav, I just got a feeling that you were unappreciated for the work that you were doing. And we had a rough idea then, which has been blown out of the water, of the work that you do, the amount of hours and time and care that you put in. And I remember saying to Trav, no matter what happens, we need this lady to know that she is appreciated always. That was the number one. She's underappreciated now. She will go above and beyond. If she's appreciated, we will do whatever it takes for you to feel appreciated. I hope we've lived up to that.
100. It's one of the things that, you talk about love languages, things like words of affirmation for me. You tell me I'm doing a good job, I'll give you 110% and go beyond. That's all I need. I'm not driven by money. I'm driven by making people be happy with me. And I think that goes back to what we're talking about with my dad too. I just wanted to make him happy, and I probably didn't get those words that I'm looking for. Now that's what I crave. You tell me I'm doing a good job, I'm going to go harder. And Riley and Shania are great at doing that too. They pump my tires all the time, and I give them more. They're really good.
That's great.
You make it very easy for us, Kez. You really do. I don't think there's been a day where I don't think that how amazing you are. Like, you're incredible at what you do, and we're very grateful.
We could keep gushing.
Yeah, he goes back. That's what I mean. It's like and I say it every day. I'm so incredibly grateful I've got a job, because 3 months ago I didn't and didn't know whether I ever was going to have another job. I didn't want it. I was too early to retire. I've got stuff to do.
Love that. All right,
lives to change.
So that whole career change.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of the way. We've spoken about that. Got that off your chest. I can see you feeling more relief.
Yeah.
Tell me, is there a member story of someone that you had an impact on that comes to mind? I've heard a couple. I've heard of that. There's people out there that have gone to get their Cert 3 and 4 in fitness and want to become a personal trainer because of you, because you have coached them. Is there any of those stories that stand out?
It's funny. I don't know that it'd be like choosing between my children. There's so many stories of incredible, that people have gone through incredible things. They've gone through hardships. They've come to the gym and they've immersed themselves in the gym because I've taken the time to stop and listen. And at that particular time, I didn't know. It's only when they come out of that, then they're able to tell me about it. And I just feel so incredibly humbled. Like I really do. I could tell stories about the older ladies that come into the gym and think that they could never ever do the things that they do. But next thing you know, they're doing it. They're doing the thing that they never thought they'd be able to do. There was a beautiful lady that has recently come into Reborn and debilitated by anxiety. Now, she came in on Saturday, the busiest day that we could ever, it's probably the busiest day we've had. She came in on her own.
Wow.
Like, what?
I love that.
Like, what? Just to even remember somebody that is, their mum almost passed away recently through a diabetic attack, if you like, and me remembering to ask, it's not always on the gym floor that always you make the biggest impact. Some of the best stories are outside of that. There's the people that have won thousands of dollars of challenges because I've spent the time and listened to their, read their text messages and gotten back to them straight away when they didn't know the timing of what they were supposed to eat at that particular time. Led them through Pete Week, dieted them out of that. All of those things.
Love that.
Tell me, what do you not like then about the fitness industry? What breaks your heart about the fitness industry at the moment?
I know all of the incredible gyms. There's so many around here and we've got incredible gyms down home. I think what makes me sad is that the people that come in and they feel that, and I'm going to speak to Reborn at the moment, is that they might come in and go that they think it's not for them. That hurts my heart. And it's not until they come in and they realize that it is, but they feel less than to walk in the door because they think we're all about fit and stunning and bodies, and that's not the case at all. We coach the person at the level that they're on, and I want them. It would break my heart if they felt that they weren't worthy, and I know some people do, and that's what I want to dispel right from the very beginning. It's like the minute they walk in the door, that there's no barriers. It's
and the hardest part is they're often the people that need it the most.
Yeah, definitely. The body dysmorphia. That's what breaks my heart as well. The people look in the mirror and they're gorgeous, stunning, and they'll look in the mirror and they can't see that. They're incredibly athletic. So it goes both ways. It's the ones that don't think they're worthy. It might be the mums, the dads, the ones that have never been into a gym. But it also too flips on the other side is the stunners, the gorgeous, aesthetically beautiful, but they can't see it either. They've got these incredible bodies that have been training for years and years, and yet they still don't see it, and they still don't feel worthy. It's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, they're chasing what looks good on Instagram.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in the books, in the magazines, we all know it's not reality.
Yeah.
Lack of self-confidence.
I want people to have that confidence. If they can walk out and go, I did a back squat. I was on the assault bike and Kerrie came and pushed me for 45 seconds and I didn't stop.
Great.
Like, are you kidding me? You didn't do that last week and the week before. How cool is that?
It's you versus you.
That's exactly right.
All right, I've got some quick fire, rapid fire questions. I'm going to pump through these and I just want quick answers.
Bang, bang,
and
bang.
then we're going to finish with Travis' big one, which I can't wait for.
Love it.
All right, with you, Kerrie Lawrence, early morning or late night?
Morning.
Knew that was coming. Tough love or gentle encouragement?
Ooh, this one, I couldn't see where this would go.
Yeah. I think I've got one of my superpowers is knowing which one for the individual.
God, that's a good answer.
Like
I was
that?
about to hurry you up, then
You
go
like
on for
that?
rapid fire,
Bang.
and then you just threw that gem
Yeah.
out. All right, biggest pet peeve as a trainer?
People that stop early,
Nice. One thing all members need to hear more often?
that they are good enough.
Oh,
One thing trainers need to hear more often?
Their time will come.
Nice. I like it. All right. Travi, I'm going to throw over to you for the big final question.
Yes, so this is the question we ask every one of our old parents, but most of the time it's a general question. It's about how do you want to be remembered by your kids? What do you want to be remembered by?
Does these have to be rapid fire? Because I
No. This one is open.
This
open
one,
up.
if we get any tissues, get
so
the tissues. Do whatever you need to do.
this is a big one for me because 3 years ago in October, I had a big episode in a gym where I was on a 24-hour bike ride for charity, and I got something called hyponatremia. It's when I diluted the sodium levels in my blood, which meant that so we got on the bikes at 10 o'clock. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, my brain was already starting to shut down and I was going into organ failure because I had diluted.
So that's when you drink so much water without putting enough salt in and you've sweat
yes,
salt out.
But see, unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize it was. I'd had it mapped out. I knew exactly the water that I was supposed to be drinking when and all the things. But what I didn't anticipate, I feel I got onto the bike with maybe a little bit of a temperature. I'd had a sinus infection. I wasn't considering that I wasn't feeling very well on the bike. So I was sweating profusely early on. And then by about 4 PM, I've got a splitting headache. This sinus infection's come back. Can you go and get me some Sudafed? And of course, Sudafed dries your mouth out. Give me some more water. Give me some more water. Give me some more water. And Sid came in. My kids came in around 5 o'clock, I believe. This is all what I've been told. I don't remember a thing. Came in about 5 o'clock, brought my brand new grandson in. Don't remember them coming in, but I spoke to them. There were several bikes around us that were all training. They thought Kerrie was just locked in because they were talking about me, but I didn't have the ability to speak.
Shit.
By 7 o'clock, I think it was around 7 o'clock, Sid's ringing me going, hey, I'm not coming down. And I was going, okay, which is not like me. I'm like, no, I want you to come. She didn't think that I was responding quite like me. By 9 o'clock, she walked in the door after getting home from Sydney. It was a terrible torrential rain night. Walked in, and I've seen photos. My face was swollen. I literally was just dying by the minute. She said to me, I'm going home because you're not making any sense. I want you to stop. And I kept smiling at her. Every hour, we got 2 minutes off the bike, got back on the bike. And I do remember this, going into the bathroom. I sat down on the toilet and I must have passed out, and then kind of like came to going, what am I doing? I've got to get outside. Came out, splashed some water on my face, walked back to the bike, got on the bike. And then I don't remember a thing after that. And Sid was standing in front of me and I collapsed on the bike at midnight. And I was revived on the floor.
Oh,
they
shit.
thought it was interesting because they thought that I had had a heart attack. Yeah. And it was incredible paramedic that had come along. And this, again, it's all stuff that I've been told, had come along, and he'd been to a marathon, not maybe a week before or a week before that, and had a very similar scene that he got himself to. And he said, I don't think it's a heart attack. I think she's got hyponatremia. Whacked me in the back of the ambulance, took me through to Wollongong. They revived me again in Wollongong. And then spent a few days in ICU. And I don't remember a thing.
Jesus.
And my brain had swollen to the point where it just shut down my organs, and everything was just, I was done for. But unbeknownst to me, I had no idea. So when I woke up, I'm going, like, what am I doing here? I had no idea how I got there, how long I'd been there. I woke up alone and they'd had me strapped down, because when you come out of something like that, they have to put the sodium back into your blood or into your body as slow as what it took. So if I was on the bike for 14 hours, it had to be 14 hours that it was going back in. But we're talking 2 days, and I still hadn't come out of the coma. And so when I finally started to come out, because I'd had brain bruising, my brain had swollen, I had this epic headache. And my sister and Sid were there. And they were basically said, we don't know how this is going to go, and which is traumatic for them, and came out of it, and wasn't great for 4 or 5 weeks, headaches, all the rest of it, because I've got brain bruising. But what it did, it made me realize that I hadn't told my children all the things that I should have over the years. So, I want to say the same things to my kids. If you say you're going to do something, make sure you do it. If you've made a commitment to something, get up, get to work. And my children are incredible at that. You know, they are amazing, but then I didn't tell them how much I love them. I didn't tell them how much work meant to me. I didn't tell them all the things that I should have done. And for me, I wanted to leave. And if I look at it, what would my legacy be? You know, and my legacy was that, you know, I want them to say I was a good mum that provided well, because I was a single mum a couple of times, that I provided well, and I instilled in them resilience and all of the things that were instilled in me from a very young age, because I'd never had those conversations with my kids either.
So you got your second chance.
Got my second chance. And this really is my second chance. It's my second chance to make another difference to all the different people that are coming into my world, because I may not have had that opportunity before. And it's really important. And my legacy is that just be kind, do all the things that you say that you're going to do.
Kez, I want to say that if there was more people like you in this world, it would be a much better place.
Well, thank you. I feel incredibly humbled to even be here, but I appreciate everything and the love that you give me. It doesn't go unnoticed. I love it.
That was a fantastic podcast. Thanks for coming on, Kez.
Oh my gosh, it's just been a blast, actually.
All right, guys, that's it. Thank you,
Wow.
Kez.
Well done, Kez.
Hug it out.
You are.